Living from our heart, living from our core, living from our power, we all get more. We are powerful.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Transformation Summit. I'm Sue Erda. I'm your host for this event, and I'm also one of the publishers at Powerful You Publishing. And I get the honor of interviewing all of the authors in our upcoming book, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women. And they're just incredible people. I can't say enough about them. If you've listened to this summit, any of these interviews, you've heard me say this, and it's absolutely true. The women that are collaborating together in this book, which there are 20 of them, they all are on this path of helping people, assisting them in their lives in some way, whatever their passion is. And so I know that you're here today because you really are interested in this topic that Jackie Garfield is going to be talking about. So why don't I introduce Jackie to you, and then we will get started talking with her. Jackie Garfield is a certified intuitive eating counselor and body image coach. She is passionate about helping women ditch the diets to make peace with food and their bodies. As a recovering corporate worker bee who worked in finance for a Fortune 100 company for over 12 years, Jackie loves watching what unfolds for her clients when they create more space to live in an authentic and aligned life. She obtained her Health and Mastery Coaching certificates from the Health Coach Institute. When she's not busy creating change for her clients, Jackie loves hanging out with her husband and stepdaughter. And Jackie, I'm so happy you're here with me today. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really great.
Yeah, good, good. So I'm excited because I like this topic. You know, it's one that I personally have been managing, dealing with, living with my whole life. And I know that people that are listening have done the same thing. So, and it's the topic, why it's so important to love your body. It's so good. And I know you have a personal story around all of this, and I know you shared much of it in the book that is coming out. Will you share that with our listeners now?
Sure. So, as most people who live in the United States, we're kind of bombarded daily with what I like to call diet culture. So in order to be healthy, we must be thin. In order to be desirable, we should be thin. So we're kind of forced into a situation where we would like to diet to make ourselves smaller so that we kind of fit that thin ideal that we are sold. The only problem with that, of course, is that most of us have unique body types and we aren't designed to all look the same. So when I kind of figured that out, things started to change for me, and I got really passionate about this work.
Yeah, that's great. And so how many years of a journey was this for you?
Oh my goodness. So if I kind of talk about my personal health journey, I have been, and I mentioned this in the book as well, I have been a dieter for 20 plus years. Went to college and gained the freshman 20, and from there it was a kind of cycle. I yo-yoed a lot, and again, the backstory of that was somewhere, you know, in my head, and obviously in our society, I thought that I needed to be smaller in order to look good in pictures and to be seen in a swimsuit and to do something, you know, all those things that it's not actually true, but I kind of bought that line of thinking. And so I struggled with my weight for many, many years.
And so is it just about weight, or that was your struggle, was mostly around weight, would you say, or were there other issues as well?
No, I think I just, again, I thought I needed to be thinner in order to live the life that I wanted to live and be happy. And, you know, once I lost the weight, I could date. And once I lost the weight, I would, you know, take all the pictures with my friends and family. And I was missing out on a lot of moments because I was so focused on, this kind of idea that I needed to watch what I eat, to go to the gym and exercise, and couldn't go out and enjoy a meal at a restaurant because they didn't have the food that I was allowed to have. And so it kind of felt like I was half living my life, and, you know, the other half I was consumed by thoughts of being smaller. And once I get to that promised land, I will finally be happy. And I have learned over the years that that's just not how it works.
It's absolutely not how it works, because it's like we're living today. We can't live then. So it's like, if this, then that, and then I'll be happy. And if people just wait and wait and wait, you know, and sometimes there's no time left. And we don't know that, of course, while we're in this moment, we don't know when that is. You know, so I know that when I read your bio, we talked about that you're a certified coach and you do intuitive eating coaching. So let's talk about that. What does that even mean?
Sure. So actually, intuitive eating is a set of 10 principles, and it's actually a book that you could go and purchase. That was written by two registered dietitians who initially, when they began their work, were doing the calories in, calories out, and creating meal plans and kind of doing that traditional, this is how you lose weight and get healthy, and doing that with their clients. And while that worked initially, clients kept coming back, and I can't keep the weight off, and I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to do, and I'm still right back where I was. And so that started to wear on them, and that kind of began their own personal journey in kind of discovering, well, wait, what we're telling people isn't working. So what can we do differently? And so that's where the intuitive eating and the 10 principles. Obviously, I won't get into all 10, but that is something I do cover with clients throughout our work together. But the short version is they make peace with food. All foods are available to you at any time. And yes, some people will say, well, then all I'm gonna eat is pizza. And while yes, that may be true, if you're starting an intuitive eating journey after a period of dieting, you're gonna eat all the things that you did not allow yourself to eat. But eventually you get tired of it. And eventually you start to tune into your body, tune into your hunger and your fullness. And you start listening, and you start to see what foods feel good in your body and what foods don't. And you get into joyful movement, right? Moving your body because it makes you feel good, not because it's punishment for the cake you ate, or to make up for something, or because someone said somewhere that you must do a HIIT workout, in order to be healthy, or to create, good cardiovascular health, right? It's movement for movement's sake, because again, it makes you feel good.
Wow. So give me a couple of the principles of intuitive eating. Like, what does that even mean? So you're saying, basically try to eat something and see what happens to your body, see how you feel. Is that what you mean?
A little bit. So, I mean, the main one that I just said, making peace with food. So no food is off limits, I think, and throughout the last, I'll say 60 years, right? We've been dieting for generations, which is a whole nother conversation we could talk about. But saturated fat is bad. You can't eat butter, or you should only eat whole unprocessed foods, all that, right? I mean, that's nice in theory, but in practice, it's more difficult, because you are at family celebrations and eating grandma's recipe that has, whatever food in it that might not align with some of those wellness type diets. So eat the pizza, eat the cake. Yes, it's sugar, but it won't kill you. I think we put too many rules, right? There are too many food rules. So it's kind of putting the food rules out the window, and just, again, eating what sounds satisfying to you, what will make you feel good. And some foods you'll eat it and go, man, that really kind of gave me an upset stomach. But it's information that you can then take with you and use in the future. And then you can make a decision. Okay, that food tasted awesome, but it really made me feel kind of crummy for a couple hours after. Then you can make the choice, right? You have the information, you can make the choice. So
Yeah.
that's the making peace with food angle. I mentioned honoring hunger and fullness. So really tuning in. When are you hungry, and eating when you're hungry? And when you're dieting, it's, well, you can only eat certain times of the day, and you can only have a certain amount of food. Well, that doesn't, you're telling your body it's wrong at that point. So it's relearning those signals that your body intuitively has. And there's some emotional aspects too, right? I mean, most people probably eat for emotional reasons in one scenario or another, some more than others. And so it's allowing yourself, if that's the coping you need to do in the minute, it's okay. But also developing other coping mechanisms so that you're not only turning to food when you need some emotional support. So kind of learning some of those skills as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. And, and I agree with you. And, I've done things, and I've done, elimination diets and all those kinds of things. I've done keto, and mostly I find, certainly keto is very popular these days. It actually works for me. I like it. I feel better. I feel more clear when I'm on it. I have more energy when I'm on it. And then if I eat something that is a processed food, or something that has just tons of carbs, like beans, I love beans, but they've got a lot of carbs, right? But I feel really bloated after I eat them. So do I not have beans? No, every once in a while I'll have beans, but I know that I'm going to feel bloated. But in that moment, if that's that thing that I'm going to eat, I just say, okay, just enjoy it. And then, just live with that, whatever that means. So I guess, does that constitute loving your body? I know we're talking about why it's so important to love your body. How does that fit in with loving my body? If I know I'm going to maybe have something that isn't maybe the best choice for me, is that still loving my body if I'm honoring myself in that moment?
Yes, that's absolutely what I mean by loving your body. So, again, depending on how much you've explored the idea of body acceptance and body positivity, right? Some people say, well, just, love your body as it is. And when you're coming from a place of dieting where you kind of hate your body, which is why you're trying to make it smaller, to say, oh, just love it, right? That's not what I'm suggesting. I think it is important to accept your body as it is. And that's a key part of the intuitive eating journey, because, right, the reason we diet is because we're unsatisfied with how our body looks typically. Now, some people for health, but most of the time it's because we're dissatisfied with how our body looks. And so in order to truly embrace intuitive eating and stop dieting once and for all, we need to accept where we are and accept that, yeah, I may be this way my whole life, and or the rest of my life, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Certainly we all probably have body parts that we like about ourselves, our smile, our shoulders, our right hips, whatever. But it's definitely important to love your body and care for it. So the self-care piece, which is kind of what you're talking about, right? Taking care of your body, doing what makes you feel good. And I think part of the dieting paradigm as well is that we disconnect from, right, our bodies, because our brain says, okay, I can only eat 5 times a day and I can only have 200 calories at each meal, or right, whatever the thing is. And our body is telling us, no, I'm hungry, I need more, right? And you feel lethargic because you don't have enough calories, right? And so we kind of have to recreate that connection with our body and honor how it feels. And maybe one day we're feeling stiff and we need to stretch. That's loving your body, right? So doing all those things that make it easier to get through your day, whatever your size may be, is loving your body.
Yeah, beautiful. Jackie, I hear the passion in your voice. Why are you so passionate about helping people find peace with their bodies?
Well, I previously alluded to it, but I was a dieter for 20 years, and it got really frustrating to do the things that I was told would work and have them work for a time and then stop working. And then I would gain back. And there's actually statistics that tell us 95% of people will regain any weight they lost through intentional weight loss. And 2/3 of us will probably gain more. So if people, right, are noticing that I went on a diet and now I weigh 5 pounds or 10 pounds more than I did before I went on the diet, and you do that a couple times, right, we're now at a higher body weight because our body is rejecting the treatment that we are putting it through. So I have done that cycle many times, and I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I can't keep fighting with food. I can't keep fighting with my body. It was exhausting. All of my thoughts were consumed by, right, calorie counts and how many calories I burned during my exercise, and right, I mean, all these numbers that in the grand scheme of things, I can't control. I think we've made it very simple, calories in, calories out. And it doesn't take into account like hormones, and women have more hormones. We're designed to carry more fat because we have to carry children. Like, men and women are not the same. And so if we can start to embrace that we are different by design, it's okay, and kind of stop listening to the noise that diet culture has in our head about everyone kind of conforming to one size or one way of being, I think the happier we will all be. And so since I have said no to dieting, and again, accepting my body as it is and being grateful for all that it does for me day in and day out without complaint for the most part, I have found just a level of freedom that I can't even really describe, because my thoughts are now free to do all the things that I want to do, like writing this book and starting my business, right? So the freedom I cannot understate, and that's kind of why I got here.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And so you probably attract clients that really relate to this. They have a similar story or some parts of that story that they can relate to where they weren't loving their bodies or they put themselves through all of these crazy, stupid diets that, maybe worked, like as you said, maybe worked, then didn't work and you gain more weight and it's frustrating and, it feels bad. But tell me about some of your clients that you work with. Maybe tell me about, how did you work with them and, what kind of things you did with them and maybe what some of the results were that they've had or that they're having right now.
Sure. Obviously every client is different and unique and has a different, right, experience and upbringing. Some of my clients were thin throughout childhood and early adulthood. And then all of a sudden, right, something changed and they started struggling with weight and then they went on their diet, right? Some of my clients have been dieting since they were children. Some have had, right, parents who have always dieted and that was the example they were set. So they just, that's all they know is to live this way. They've never had kind of an intuitive eating experience. So obviously everyone starts in a different place, but we work one-on-one together for a period of time and go through, right, all of the 10 principles of intuitive eating. But again, with each 10, some easy peasy, no brainer, I got this, I can, right, easily implement this into my life. And other places, they kind of get hung up on stuff. So, right, maybe it's food scarcity, right? I was in a family with 3 boys, and if I didn't get my dinner, right, I wasn't gonna eat. And so they've carried that into their adulthood and the way they approach food. So helping them uncover what some of those things may be that they're not even aware of that, right, are affecting how their behavior is today. And kind of coming up with, right, ways to deal with that and accept that and kind of put that behavior on the back burner and move forward in this new way. So again, everyone's different, but most people are seeking the freedom and just the stopping the incessant thoughts about dieting, food, and body. So
Yeah, terrific. And so I know that there are people listening right now that think, okay, that sounds great to me. Intuitive eating sounds good. I definitely want to love my body. I want to love myself. What can you tell them that they can start with right now? Maybe something small, something that they can just need to pay attention to today to get them started on this intuitive eating journey.
sure. I guess it all kind of starts there, but accepting your body as it is and kind of calling truce, if you will. Your body is just there to protect you. When you think you can outsmart it, you've already lost. Which I think we've all experienced in our, if you've ever dieted, that your body's the boss. So there's no amount of, willpower that will outwill your body and what it wants for you. So I think it's, again, accepting your body and saying, you know what, I'm done trying to change you. I'm going to appreciate you. I'm going to love you as you are and for all the things you do for me. And I'm going to do a better job at taking care of you because I've neglected you. I think a lot of us have neglected our body and our body knows that.
Yeah, feels it.
Sure.
Feels it. So do you talk to your body actually? Is that what it is? Or it's like just this piece that you make when you're, it's thoughts that you have, or you actually write stuff down, or do you talk to your body or what?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously everyone's comfortable with different things. Some people, right? I mean, I personally, it sounds crazy, but when I was first doing this, I looked in the mirror and I looked myself in the eyes and I had a heart-to-heart conversation. And I even hand on heart and hand on belly and just truly, part of all of this too is just forgiving yourself for what you did in the pursuit of happiness or right in the pursuit of whatever it is you thought you were supposed to need or want or do, right? But yeah, having a heartfelt moment and feeling it throughout your body. And again, if you're disconnected, that's a harder thing to do. But with time, it gets easier. And there were plenty of tears, obviously, throughout this work because we have to let go of what we did and why we did it, and just again making peace and calling truce and saying, you know what, I'm not going to hurt you anymore.
Yeah, like Maya Angelou says, right? When you know better, you do better. So yep, that's the journey.
And you have to let go of what has been, right? Because we can't change what we did in the past. And our intentions are always positive, right? Like we don't purposely hurt ourselves ever. There's always a positive intention. And so saying, yep, I did that. I did it in the pursuit of XYZ, and that's okay. But going forward, I'm going to be better.
Yeah. Great. I love it. I love that. So listeners, go out and just talk to yourself. Have a great conversation with yourself, a heart to heart right in the mirror. That's great advice, Jackie. Thank you. So Jackie, I know this has been great. I love the information you shared. I know you have a gift for our listeners. Can you tell us what is that gift and how we can get that and also learn more about you?
Sure. So yes, I have a free gift. It's a free guide. So it's kind of if you're beginning your intuitive eating journey, just some key mindset shifts that will make the journey easier. So that free gift is available on my website. So that's jackiegarfield.com/free guide. And there you can get access to that guide. And again, hopefully it will help you kind of put you in the right frame of mind before you begin your intuitive eating journey, so that you're kind of starting off on a good foot with kind of prepared for what's to come.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Jackie, thank you so much. I so appreciate you sharing this information with us today and also being part of the book and sharing your personal story in this book. I know that our listeners will want to read that for sure. What is the title of your chapter? Do you remember?
The title of my chapter is I Am More Than My Body.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I loved your chapter. I just couldn't remember the title. That was really a wonderful story. So thank you so much for being part of this whole project. I appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And listeners, thank you, because I know you are on your own journey of transformation, as we all are. And I so appreciate you listening into these authors and taking whatever they have, the guidance that they have, the practices that they have, and putting it into practice in your own life so that you can have more ease and peace and make peace with yourself and forgive yourself and all those wonderful things that Jackie talked about today and other authors have talked about too. And also buy this book, The Art and Truth of Transformation, on launch day, which is October 20th. You can go to our website, transformation-book.com, and we will guide you to Amazon to buy the book. You come back from Amazon with your receipt number, plug that in, and you will have access to more than 35 awesome gifts from our authors and partners that you can download, listen to. There's some are meditations, ebooks, a whole bunch of wonderful things. So definitely do that. You get the wonderful stories, the personal stories of 20 women, and you also get all of the gifts. So transformation-book.com on October 20th. We hope that you will do that and continue listening to the summit. We have more wonderful authors here for you to listen to. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.